I can see, and you can see, and people at home can see. What do you know? How do you do? Today it is Soup and Meatballs Day because it is a Saturday at 10 o'clock. We're 10:02. We're running late.
The trains don't always run on time.
Yes.
Our adoring public has to deal with it.
How was your week?
Strong week. I got a new Eagles hat, so big things
I,
happening over here.
it doesn't. It looks like retro. Like
Yeah, it's Kelly Green. I feel like I don't feel like Buddy Ryan. Maybe I don't feel quite that good. Maybe like Rich Kotite.
turn it around. Oh, it's one of those. Oh, dude. First, I'm a hat snob. It has to be a fitted hat, but the snaps make it easier. You got like the football
Yeah,
vest of it.
yeah.
That's
It's
hard.
well, I'm used to overcoming obstacles, so
This is you
yeah.
make for
I
fashion, I
I
guess.
don't have that sweet fitted cap money.
Don't drink that morning coffee for 3 weeks, and there you go.
Mr. Rockefeller with his fitted caps over here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know the last hat I bought. Actually, I'm looking over at the hats on
An
the
ivory
floor.
top hat sounds like.
Some of them, I mean, there was some cost on some of them. I have a custom one. When I was coaching football, I tried to make a Chambersburg C, kind of like the Michigan Block M. So I made a custom hat. Those weren't cheap at all, but I looked cool on the sideline. That was the important thing.
That's all that matters with the hats.
Yeah, and I wear it now out because it's still a Chambersburg hat, which is kind of cool. Speaking of trains not running on time, my dad got to ride a train this week. Speaking of what happened this week, first time in his life, he said he'd never ridden a train before.
He'd never what about subways? Like are we counting subways as trains?
Um, I don't know. I mean, no, subways are subways. They go underground. That's how I'm putting it. Train like Amtrak on the
Okay.
rails. He went to Virginia and what's the other place? Myrtle Beach, just to get out of the sun, I guess, or get out of the cold and get into the sun, I guess.
Just riding the rails like a boxcar hobo.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
He had a valid ticket.
the way he described the train, I don't think he was like sitting in the back with a can of beans.
Yeah.
But you're picturing him with like the big puffy brown jacket with holes in the shoulders and
Right, like a moonshine jug with 3 X's on it.
he absolutely had a scarf on though.
Playing a harmonica.
I have no doubt of that he's wearing a scarf. But yeah, I don't know what he didn't have any like plans. I have to text you a picture though of I did the whole find my phone thing with him just to watch him go down. There is something at the resort he's at that is not Soup and Meatballsable, but it's like the most ridiculous thing in my head. So remind me 2 hours from now when we're done that you want to see the picture of Myrtle Beach.
I am incredibly intrigued.
Yeah,
That's what I can only assume is this topless beach that your dad's at.
No, it's not like that. It's a Google Map view type thing. Very reminiscent of old Harmon-Guy Stadium. And
I know exactly what you mean. Okay.
Now you're with me.
Yeah, now we're on the same page. I'm picking up.
Speaking of being on the same page, and Harmon-Guy Stadium has nothing to do with this. Top story this week, I guess, out of sports: LeBron James hit for 34 in a win Tuesday night, and that pushed his regular season point total to, I don't know, somewhere above 200. He is also the leading scorer in postseason history. So if you combine the two, 50,000 points. That's a lot of points. What is that a big deal? 50,000? Of course it is.
It wasn't to me. I was sitting here watching whichever game, and they cut in live to LeBron, and I was like, he came in needing one basket, and I was like, we're gonna cut in live for this, really? Like,
I didn't see the actual thing. I mean, just the feat in and of itself.
I mean, of course it's impressive, but to me, it's no more. It's less impressive than when he passed Kareem. Everything now. Like every time he scores a point is technically history
Wow,
because he's just extending the record,
yeah.
So the fact that he landed on a nice round number the other night, it doesn't really hold a lot of value.
I saw people get really bent out of shape because he doesn't have 50,000 regular season points, and people were celebrating this. And I thought to myself, well, here's the thing. I've been hearing this on the radio every morning. Do you know who the biggest enemy of the NBA seems to be?
Its own fans.
The NBA itself. Like, and they found something that they could try to put out there in a positive way, and it kind of turned on them. And I listen, 50,000 to me is nothing more than a nice round number. He is the epitome of longevity in a sport that longevity is not a big thing. It's not like we had this conversation a couple weeks back, LeBron versus Tom Brady and whose longevity was more impressive. And I took LeBron's side really just to argue with you. I'm still amazed that the guy at what is he now, like 53 years old? I mean, it depends on what barbershop you're talking to with Eddie Murphy. Like LeBron James is 75 years old. What he's doing is just really impressive to
bonkers.
Me. Like 34 points against the Pelicans are the Pelicans. But I mean, he's going out game in, game out. He's playing. He's not load managing. And oh, by the way, the Lakers are now really good.
Yeah, I think that's the more relevant topic is that I think they've now played themselves up to the 3 seed.
If I had to check, they are statistically percentage points ahead of the Nuggets. The Nuggets have one more win, but they also have one more loss. Yeah. So right now, if the season ended today, but the Lakers are 8-2 in their last 10.
They've won 17 of the last
Nuggets
20.
Are 7-3 in their last 10. They're like right next to each other.
And I think this is what all the Lakers haters feared when they got Luka, was this exact scenario. But I think it's great.
Oh, we said this. When was that? 4 weeks ago? Yeah. 3 weeks ago.
Like back in late January. Before the break.
I said, like, I would not be surprised if they finished with the 2. And here they're right there. Luka has come in and sparked that team. Defense notwithstanding,
they're playing defense.
Their offense is still really good.
Better than they were when they had AD. Figure that out. They lost an elite rim protector, and they're somehow better defensively.
I cannot figure that out.
And tonight, it's a marquee, primetime network matchup where they have the Celtics on ABC at 8:30.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a big game for
the league. I think that is a chance to get some much needed eyeballs on not just a historically marquee matchup, but a currently relevant marquee matchup.
I said last week could be a finals preview. We'll see. Are they in Boston?
Yeah, I believe it's at TD Garden. Yeah,
Boston by 1 million.
And that's the other thing. I believe Vegas has the Lakers favored by 6 on the road.
No.
As of yesterday, I heard them talking on ESPN about it. No. I want to say the Lakers were a 6.5 point favorite yesterday.
No.
Okay.
They're not.
Oh, they're not?
No. I'm just in my ear. Producers telling me Boston is -7.5.
Oh, maybe I heard it wrong. I was half listening.
I mean, come on. They're at home. If it was in LA, maybe. But I mean, no. Boston's still really good.
And it depends because Boston, the other night. Boston had a first in franchise history where they had 2 players go for 40 in a game, which they'd never done before, which is hard to believe. But it was Peyton Pritchard and Derek White because Jason Tatum's been banged up, Porzingis was banged up. Some nights, they've been resting Jaylen Brown. So I'll be curious to see who. I'd imagine it's going to be all hands on deck for Boston tonight, but they have been playing with a limited rotation.
If you look at the season series, LA did win the matchup in Los Angeles by 21. Yeah. So Boston coming in maybe has something to prove, I guess. I don't know if you look at the schedule they have going into next week, Utah, Oklahoma City, at Miami. And these are not easy games either. So Um, you'll see a little bit about what Boston has. I mean, was it Perkins said that nobody was going to beat them in a 7-game
He
series?
says a lot of things.
Well, we'll see. Speaking of, there's a team out there that is not going to beat them in a 7-game series. I can tell you that, and it's just gotten worse for them. Jalen Brunson rolled his ankle on, was it Tuesday night, in a loss against those Los Angeles Lakers. They said he's out 2 weeks. And the Knicks are still going to be among the best teams in the East, but I can see this dropping them down. Milwaukee's hot right now. I could see New York finishing with the 5 seed now, and they're the 3 right now. But if they don't have Brunson, is really their offense. Without him, they're going to find some trouble. Yeah, that's not good news.
And it was. I'm surprised it's only 2 weeks because it was a really ugly. Him.
That's what they said, minimum of 2 weeks. So that's the other thing. They'll reevaluate. That's the whole well, we'll check him out, but he's off for 2 weeks. You're right. He could be off.
The way that he landed on Austin Reeves and his ankle just absolutely buckled.
And I didn't see it, thankfully, because ankle injuries give me the willies. The picture's out there. I mean, those are some interesting shoes.
Yeah.
I give him that.
His like Gem from the 80s cartoon. Yeah.
Remember the day when basketball players wore high tops?
I remember when it was a big deal when Scottie Pippen wore his ruby red sneakers for the '94 All-Star game, and everyone lost their minds.
The only things Pippen related I remember is he had the shoe with look at the MJ at the bottom.
Yeah, at the '94 All-Star game, Pippen unveiled some bright red shoes, and he shaved his head to show the world that he had some unsightly fontanelles grooved into his scalp from birth.
You can do that in an all-star game. That's fine.
Yeah, show your fontanelles, fellas.
When you're as good as Jalen Brunson, you can wear whatever shoes you want, and we're going to see what the Knicks have without him. What do the Knicks have?
Yeah, I don't know what their schedule looks like, but they're going to be relying on Cat a little bit.
Coming forward, they're out west. Tough game against Golden State next week.
And Golden
today.
State is outstanding right now. Ever since getting Jimmy Butler, James Buckets.
They got the Kings. They got the Kings and the Trailblazers. I mean, those are games they should win.
The Blazers are hot.
Then they come back home to play Miami.
The Blazers have been hot. Before they got Boston the other night, I want to say the Blazers had won 17-23. I think Windhorst was saying on ESPN. The
5-5 in their last 10. But I mean, they started out really poorly.
They're playing their way, especially with Dallas, having their injury situation. Portland's playing their way to the picture on the West.
What injury? Up.
King of the Segway. New king of the Segway.
Amazing. Yeah, so Kyrie goes down, like you said. And this is just, I mean, imagine being a Mavericks fan. I saw a video where they did the timeline. They make the trade. And then they do the press conference. And Jason Kidd's he's looking around. And then Anthony Davis debuts and he scores 24 points in 6 minutes and then he gets hurt. And then they go on just a rough stretch. I mean, they've lost 4 in a row. I forget when Irving got hurt.
Was it Wednesday night? I want to say maybe.
If you say it with enough conviction, I'll believe you. So right now they're at 500. They're 32-32. And you would think, maybe the Suns, who are right there, maybe the Suns want to make the playoffs. No, they've actually been worse than the Mavericks. They're on a 3-7 tear here. But yeah, Portland, among the non-playoff teams in the West, if I'm looking at the standings, which I am, Portland might be the most likely to push their way into the play-in tournament. But I mean, if you're Dallas, what do? Do you keep pushing and say, you know what, let's get in the play-in, or do you say, the lottery's fine, it's a deep draft?
I think you have to punt if you're the Mavericks. I think you tell AD, we're shutting you down. We want you healthy for the whole 25-26. You let Kyrie, because he's already 32 or 33 or whatever. rehab that knee, get that ACL healthy, and then you look at adding to your roster. I think KD is going to be available. You mentioned the Suns. I don't think he's going to stay in Phoenix. And you look at maybe building around what you've got and making a run at it next year.
Is KD a free agent next year?
I think anything with KD, it would be a trade. I don't think he's a free agent. And honestly, the noise right now is that LeBron wants him in LA.
Money notwithstanding, LeBron, Luka, and Kevin Durant.
And people want to complain about the 3-pointers from this era. I think it's guys conspiring to create super teams that I dislike the most. I think when you talk about legacies and people are like, "Oh, Kevin Durant's the greatest small forward ever," it's like, well, it's easy when you're in Oklahoma City and then you don't like that situation, so you go to play with the greatest team in the league at that time. You go to team up with Steph and Clay and Draymond, and then you don't like that situation, so you go to team up with James Harden in New Jersey, and then you don't like that situation.
And Kyrie.
And Kyrie. Although COVID kind of kept him out of that situation for a bit because he wouldn't mask. And then,
but I'll tell you, I mean, say what you want about him as a as a
human being.
Oh, come on. No, I'm talking about Kevin Durant.
Because I was going to say Kyrie has definitely a checkered past, but give him a lot of credit for the tears coming down the face when he was shooting the free throw with the torn ACL. Showed a lot of guts.
Yeah, that a little Kobe in him there.
But I'm sorry, you were saying KD.
But say one about Kevin Durant as a guy you bring in for just like 1 or 2 years. He traveled around a lot. He is a heck of a scorer, and at his size, the range he had. You look at a guy like Durant, Dirk Nowitzki, Jokic. Like, yeah, these guys shoot. They had range. It was. Can you imagine back in the day, like Patrick Ewing shooting a 3-pointer? And Patrick Ewing had range for a big man. He had a jumper. But can you imagine like Shaquille O'Neal shooting a 3-pointer? Or, Robert Parrish shooting a 3-pointer?
Well,
these guys are just...
It just shows you how the game's changed. That Jokic is hitting, north of 40%, 45% from 3. But
now that you mentioned the whole super team aspect of it, that's where the people our age, the Gen X people, look at Michael Jordan, and yeah, he built a relative super team in the 90s, but they came in and it wasn't like Kevin Durant and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. Scottie Pippen was a top 50 player of all time back in the day, but besides Jordan and Pippen, when you look at Ron Harper and Dennis Rodman as the next big names,
they were great role players.
Kukoc
was a project from Croatia.
Yeah,
when you talk about Pippen, people want to be like, "Oh, Jordan had his super team." Yeah, the Bulls. Well, no, I'm sorry. The Sonics drafted Pippen out of Central Arkansas State as a potential project I believe he was the 5th pick in the '87 draft. But he was not a guarantee. He came from a small school, and he eventually developed into what he became. It's different when you draft and you take a flyer on a guy like Pippen, as opposed to being like, well, I don't like a super team. And for that would have been like Jordan losing to the Pistons in '88 and '89 and being like, all right, well, I'm going to Boston and I'm going to call Magic and see if he wants to join me.
And yeah, we'll play with Larry. Yeah. What happened? What happened in Miami? I might have. Can you imagine had LeBron stayed in Cleveland, doesn't go to Miami, and then he still wins in Cleveland by bringing people in? I don't think it would have been as I don't want to say legacy tarnishing, but in our old man heads, that's what it is. Like if Kyrie came to Cleveland then, and maybe they pick up somebody, maybe Chris Bosh comes to Cleveland, so they still build the super team, but he doesn't leave to go do it. I think that's different. With Kevin Durant, back to the Durant thing, he has the same kind of situation where he's been the floater and he's gone places. So I can see where people look at him as, you're just a one-man traveling band. I'm just looking at him like he's one of the greatest small forward scorers of all time, because he is, and he's so hard to guard. And
he's one of a handful to only get 30,000, which he did a couple weeks ago. But him jumping around and some other guys who've jumped around, I think that's why history, even now, views people like Steph and Giannis more favorably than they view a guy like Durant, who is obviously a top 20, top 15 all-time talent. But I don't think he's ever going to crack that top 10 because he's been a situation jumper.
It depends on which TikToker you're watching. Because seeing how people look at or make their own top 10, it's amazing to me, because as a casual NBA fan, and that's kind of what I am. I mean, back in the 90s when I actually paid a lot of attention, I would have been a more hardcore fan. But as a casual NBA fan with a limited knowledge of today's players, seeing what my top 10 might be would probably drive some people today nuts.
And you could make a case that Durant, he could be the greatest pure scorer in NBA history. Like, you could honestly make that case with all the tools he has in the tool belt. There are a few guys in league history who could, defend him or go point for point with him.
Just because of his size, yeah.
Just because of his size, his range, and his size, his handle. He's just so smooth and so automatic. But yeah, because of the way that he's handled his career and jumping from situation to situation. Like when he came to Phoenix, that was supposed to be like, oh, Durant, Booker, and Bradley Beal was going to be, they were going back to the finals. Except that they've been barely better than 500 Durant's entire time there.
How is that possible? What happened there?
Well, Beal hasn't been able to stay healthy. Beal plays 20 games a year, and
they have Durant and Booker. You'd think they'd be better than 3 games under 500.
I think it's just a testament to A, how deep the West has been the last 5 years, and also B, the amount of flux that Phoenix has been in with coaching, with the roster. They just have no consistency, and they haven't been able to build anything off of, 2 of the better building blocks in the league.
Seriously. So how about this? I'm going to turn Tim into AI here, Chat GPT. What would a matchup between
I still have 5 fingers. I had to check.
Prime Kevin Durant against a prime Scottie Pippen? But same position. Scotty's not as big, but one of the best defenders of all time.
Yeah.
What does that look like in a game?
How
many does Durant get?
Oh boy, I still think if Durant wants to get 25 to 30, he does. And I consider Pippen to be maybe the best on the ball defender of my lifetime.
That's saying something right there. We didn't ask the real Chat GPT that question this week. What I did ask it this week in honor of tonight's Celtics-Lakers matchup, I asked El Chat GPTO.
Do we have another all-time?
Oh, yeah. I said, which team would win in a simulated 7-game series? A team comprised of the all-time Boston Celtics roster or a team comprised of the all-time Los Angeles Lakers? Please include summaries of each game, including box scores, playing the games at the Boston Garden and the Los Angeles Forum. So what it returned back to me, it says, that sounds like an epic matchup. I'll simulate a full 7-game series between an all-time Celtics and all-time Lakers team, taking into account historical performance, play styles, and legendary matchups. Give me a moment to run the simulation. How long do you think it took for it to spit something out?
Less than a minute.
It was 2.5 minutes. So I'm sitting there, it's like thinking. So it really went hardcore into this.
Yeah, so some real cogitation.
Yeah. So first thing, Tim, I want you to tell me who you think was the all-time Celtics starting 5.
Russell at the 5.
Russell was 5, yes.
Oh, either Garnett or McHale at the 4. I'll say Garnett.
It wasn't Garnett. It was McHale.
Okay. I think Garnett's the better power forward, but McHale was, a career Celtic, so that makes sense. Bird at the 3.
Yes.
Kuzi at the point?
Yes.
And then it depends. Did they have Pierce as a 3 or a 2? Same with Havlicek.
They had Pierce as a 3.
Okay. Did they have Havlicek as a 2?
Yes, because he's your starting 2.
Okay.
Tougher question now. Who's your head coach?
Auerbach?
Yes, it was Auerbach. Do you want to take a run at your bench? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 10 players on your bench, and you don't have to think too hard. I mean,
all right. How about Garnett, Pearson, Allen?
Garnett, Pierce, Allen. Yes, yes, yes.
Dennis Johnson?
Yes.
Dave Cowens?
No.
League MVP and NBA champion Dave Cowens?
No, I lied. Yes, he's there. He's there.
Okay.
ChatGPT's it's okay. I'm sorry. Yes, he was mixed in. I'm sorry.
So what's that?
League MVP Dave Cowens. Hold on. I'm going to change the bench now. It is now Capital League MVP Dave Cowens.
Big Red. That's right.
There he is. He's there.
How about Bill Sharman?
Make sure Bill Sharman is not on the team now. Give you one more guess. I'm going to give them to you then.
How about Tommy Heinsohn?
Tommy Heinsohn is on the team.
How about
you're missing 4 or 5? Yeah, 5 you're missing.
Reggie Lewis by any chance?
No, Reggie Lewis didn't make it. The Chief made it.
Rondo?
Oh, yeah, Rondo's there. Yep.
Guy
stole the ball.
What's that?
Yeah, this guy stole the ball.
Havlicek? Or DJ, if I'm...
DJ, yeah. Dennis Johnson made the team.
Oh, I thought I said DJ. Okay.
Sounds like a lounge singer.
God, it sounds like a lounge singer.
Sam Jones.
Oh, sure. Are both Jones brothers there, Sam and Casey?
Casey's no.
Okay.
No, the other guys you're missing are JoJo White.
Sure.
And Robert Parrish.
Okay.
So that's the Celtics team. Okay. Now they've cheated for the Lakers a little bit. I'll tell you that. So they cheated for their starting 5.
Did they want to get Shaq and Kareem in the starting 5?
They have Shaq and Kareem in the starting 5. So Kareem is the 4.
A 7'3" power forward. Okay. Formidable.
Formidable indeed. So I'm sorry, Kevin McHale, you've got to try to defend the skyhook.
Okay. All right. So we got Diesel at the 5. We got Kareem at the 4. Magic.
Easy.
I mean, Magic's running point and Kobe's at the 2.
Yeah, that's an easy one too.
Elgin Baylor at the 3?
Elgin Baylor over Worthy, yeah. So then some of the guys on their bench, I mean, you can probably guess 2 of them pretty easily.
Weston Worthy. Or Weston Worthy. You said, Elgin was at the 3, so Weston Worthy.
Yep. And then, another one's probably pretty easy.
Wilt,
yeah. And then they've got Pau Gasol, Gail Goodrich, Michael Cooper, Derek Fisher, Byron Scott, Jamal Wilkes, and George Mikan. So, ChatGPT says both teams are loaded with Hall of Famers, making this an epic all-time great showdown.
A lot of size on that LA team. A lot of size.
Game 1, Boston Garden. Celtics 106. Lakers 101. Boston takes the opener behind Ray Allen's sharp shooting. Kevin Garnett gets 29 off the bench, and It says Michael Cooper hit for 39 points. Okay.
Honestly, I'll tell you this, matchup-wise, if they're going to put Kareem at the 4, I'm starting Garnett because he might be the best defender of the 2000s and the best equipped to handle Kareem.
Okay. Well, I mean, Kevin Garnett must have got a lot of playing time because, like I said, 29 points off the bench. I don't know, feels like a lot with that team. They did not, nor would they give me full game box scores. Like I hit my free limit, and you're going to see what happened here in a second. It's kind of this is what happens with AI. But Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Dave Cowens led the way for Boston in Game 1. So you got to be feeling pretty good about it. What's up?
League MVP Dave Cowens?
League MVP Dave Cowens with 22.
1974, baby.
So now so the Lakers come into Boston down 1-0. And, well, in Game 2, Boston 108, Los Angeles 103. Another close win. This time, Bill Russell scores 22 and Ray Allen scores 28. Michael Cooper, again, a massive game for the Lakers, 37 points. But nowhere do I see Kobe Bryant. Nowhere do I see Shaq or Kareem. So the Boston defense is holding tight in L.A. How are you feeling going out west?
You know, you always feel good being up 2-0, especially with League MVP Dave Cowens in the mix.
What did Cowens do? Cowens was unaccounted for in Game 2, so I don't know what he did.
He didn't rock a DNP, did he?
Oh, no.
On the floor.
Like I said, it doesn't give me the full box score. It just this is the summary that it gives me. Game 3, George Mikan leads the way for the Lakers with 32.
Can't let Mikan beat you. Come
on.
But
Kevin McHale's 39 and JoJo White off the bench for 34. Boston steals a game in LA 99-94. Can you believe it? The Celtics are now up 3-0.
I'm nervous that this is gonna go poorly. I feel like you're setting me up.
I'm setting AI up because in Game 5, it says the Lakers avoid the sweep. Unfortunately, in Game 4, the sweep was complete as the Lakers drop 100-95. Kevin Garnett goes for 40, and Michael Cooper gets another 36. So, like, in this series, Kevin Garnett is the MVP, a 40-point performance in Game 4 to go along with his big Game 1. I looked at this, and I thought this had 7 games written all over it. And when I just looked at the starters, when I saw Kareem at the 4, I thought, wow, they're going to kill him down low. Boston sweeps. What do you think?
I think this shows that AI is not there yet. We don't have to worry about a robot uprising. You know, I love the Celtics, but I don't think they're sweeping any team that has Magic, Kobe, Shaq, Kareem, and Elgin Baylor.
In the starting, so the head coach was Phil Jackson, so he might have been taking a Zen nap in Game 2, and
too busy reading a book about Buffalo or something.
What amazes me about the way ChatGPT works then is after I had read the summaries, I got back in its face. I'm going to log in because I had a conversation with it. Where did I put that? Oh, I have to log out of this account. Oh, no, it's not in the other account. I don't know where it went. I did have this discussion. I told it, I said, you realize that, you know, if you win the first 4 games, the Lakers can't play Game 5. There's no such thing as, you know, they swept. And it's like, it said, oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I can't find the conversation. I hope I didn't delete it because that was classic. When you tell it it's wrong, it's funny. Mm-hmm. So There it is. I like doing this. I think this is kind of neat. We'll ask people what kind of matchups they want to see. I'm gonna do like weird stuff, like who wins in an arm wrestling matchup, Santa Claus or Shrek.
Oh boy, I think you got to go Shrek.
Get your bets in. We'll see. That would be an insanely mad arm wrestling event. Speaking of mad, March Madness right down the pike. Speaking of segues, how about it? We're hitting conference tournament time next week, right?
Yeah.
Because
Selection Sunday's a week from tomorrow.
Is it a week?
Tomorrow's the 9th.
It's on the 16th. Wow, we're a week away.
Yeah,
that's the year just kind of blows by me. And as a guy who watches Syracuse basketball mainly, I've stopped paying attention largely to college basketball. Big game tonight, though, in the SEC, the rematch of Alabama-Auburn, the Iron Bowl. Or not tonight, it's at 2:30. Auburn took game 1. We'll see what they do in game 2. A win probably solidifies them as the overall number 1 seed when the brackets come out. Duke still, really good. Excuse me. Michigan, they're dropping. They dropped another game. They're now bracketologied as a 5, which, as you and I both know, that's a dangerous spot to be in this tournament.
Yeah. I think anyone who's picked a bracket knows the 5-12 is upset city.
So looking at bracketology, I'll tell you the 5-12s right now would be Oregon against either Xavier or Oklahoma. You got Missouri and Yale. That one just screams Yale, because why would you pick them?
Yeah, and I think people of our generation just remember those Princeton teams that used to give people fits.
I just saw highlights of that, the backdoor cut where they beat Georgetown.
Yeah.
You got Clemson, Drake. I don't know anything about Drake, so they're obviously winning. And then Michigan against McNeese, and McNeese is obviously going to win that one. So all the 12s are going to win. I like Oregon over Oklahoma, though.
Is the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament, is that the best sports day of the year?
Well, it's Thursday, Friday, so
right.
I work.
You're at work, like doesn't that kind of add to it? Kind of feels like you're getting away with something.
I worked with a guy who used to take his time off. His personal time was always the Thursday, Friday. I have a hard time figuring a better sports weekend that's planned. I mean, the Super Bowl weekend is big.
Super Bowl's overrated. It's a lot of hoopla for 3 hours.
It's a big event, though. As far as events go, weekend-wise, especially if you're an NFL fan, and we have to talk about the NFL or we're going to get fined. You know that.
I feel like Super Bowl, like all of Super Bowl week is designed for the non-football fan.
Yeah, I disagree. I think the Super Bowl is designed for the non-football fan. I think the week, if you're able to make it, is like a fan experience. Now, like getting a $7,000 ticket, yeah, you and I aren't doing that.
Yeah.
But if I could make it to like the Super Bowl week and do like the meet and greets or that kind of fun stuff, if work and life wasn't a challenge, I think a fan would really like that stuff. It's just the game is untenable for a plebeian like myself.
A plebeian.
I'm with you. I think the opening week of NCAA, because I don't care about golf. I don't care about tennis. And that's just me. I know people of our age, we've gotten into golf or people like it. I can't sit and watch people hit a ball with a crooked stick and walk after it for more than 12 seconds.
I enjoy the majors, I'll watch,
it's
Sunday
all golf. I would watch on the Ocho. I would watch mini golf. Like, how they have the video game golf now that they're doing? What's that, the LTI tour?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. That's interesting for me for about 45 seconds. But then it's still golf. And it's not my thing. You know what I will watch that other people won't? I'll watch bowling. I like bowling.
I like bowling.
That might be more boring than golf because you're not walking anywhere.
I would watch celebrity mini golf, and I'm not even kidding.
I think mini golf would be fun. I think that's something that, a couple of weeks ago or months ago, we decided we were going to fix baseball. I think we could make a new sport like in mini golf. We could like have extreme mini golf, and oh yeah, we could mix it with pro wrestling.
How would
This
you
is why
make mini golf extreme?
This is why they won't give us money. I don't know.
Like, would you load one of the holes with TNT or something?
No, but we could load it up with sprinkles.
We need to talk to someone at a network. We need to make this happen.
No, we need to find one of the billionaires on this planet. Like, hey, what are you doing with, all that? Wouldn't you like to do this?
Look, Bezos, we could end homelessness, or hear me out.
Sprinkles mini golf.
Yeah.
That'd be great. We could. Oh, you know what? I'm looking right now. I have this on my desk. You know what this is?
Let me put my glasses on.
You don't need your glasses for this. It's a Lego guy.
Yeah, but the word live is blocking it out on my screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about this? Down here.
I still
Lego
can't.
Guy.
I just see a red shirt and a yellow head.
He's a Lego guy.
Okay.
He's a minifig. So at our golf event, we have 20 million of these. And instead of sprinkles, we explode minifigs. And like the kids can take them home then.
So
you gotta give the kids something like they do at a baseball game, the 14 and under, So
it's gonna rain down hot pieces of plastic onto children. What could go wrong?
I'm telling you, that's a maddening madness idea here for college basketball. So next week we'll see where the brackets line us up. Is anybody you're interested in seeing college basketball wise? Like I know the SEC is good, but again, like I said, as a Syracuse guy, I haven't spent a lot of time. Who's actually who might make it as the Patriot League champs if they win the tournament? Bucknell. Yeah, you had some family connections to Bucknell, right?
Yeah, my cousin played lacrosse at Bucknell, and a Yankee connection. A-Rod was just at Bucknell like 2 weeks ago. He hit a half-court shot and won a student $10,000.
Amazing. Right now, they're in a play-in game against Southern, and the winner of the Southern Bucknell game would get Auburn. So don't bet on the 16 in that one.
But what game do you ever bet on the 16?
I don't know.
You remember when UVA lost to the little school from Maryland?
Some community college in Maryland, yeah.
Yeah.
That was had to be the biggest upset in all sports. I mean,
it's right up there with Tyson and Buster Douglas.
Appalachian State was a Division II national champion coming into Michigan. That was a massive upset. Buster Douglas, Tyson, you have to realize how bad Tyson was back at the time. That's up there. Any 16 over 1 is nuts. If you look at some of the 16-1 matchups, I mean, Duke versus Quinnipiac.
And
Quinnipiac. I can't even say the team.
And it's not just that UVA lost that game, but it's that they got run off the court.
Yeah,
they lost by 20. And I believe they were the number 1 overall, UVA.
They were a terrible offensive team, though. So I think that they won with defense, right? And then, amazingly enough, it happened again. Purdue. I thought I remembered Purdue. I looked it up. Yeah, FDU, Florida Dominion. There was another 16 over a 1, but that game was a lot closer from what I remember. I remember watching that game at a party with Jen's teacher friends, and yeah, the Virginia game was never in doubt. Almost like it was shocking to see what Maryland community whatever was doing to them.
It was shocking that UVA never mounted any kind of comeback. There was never a point where the announcers were like, "Oh, now UVA means business." They never.
Omaha's going to get a 3-point lead on Houston. And then Houston's going to go on a 12-0 run.
Right. And it's funny because growing up, we always wanted to see that 16-1 upset. And there was never anything in the 90s that even came close. There were a couple 2 seeds that got bounced.
Yeah.
We never saw 1 seed have any kind of scare.
Yeah, those games were, like you said, they were never close, never in doubt. I would be interested. It would take me a long time to do, but to go back throughout the '90s, what was the average score of a 116 game? I'd be willing to bet it's at least 25.
Yeah, 25-30 probably. Yeah.
Even a close game, like a 10-point game, somebody was getting blown up by 45. So
Yeah.
we'll see what they got for us next week. I don't even think Syracuse was invited to the ACC tournament, so there's no chance for them to get hot.
I don't even think they're allowed to watch the games. I think it's
No,
just blacked out on Syracuse cable.
it is. They will be allowed to watch the PSAC finals, I guess. In the PSAC, both IUP and Bloom's women's hoops teams got knocked out of the conference playoffs. I don't know if you saw the Lady Huskies won their opener against East Stroudsburg, but then they lost to the 2 seed, the Lock Haven Lady Bald Eagles. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, they're the Bald Eagles, and
It's
funny
they're the
because
Bald Eagles, but are they the Lady Bald Eagles, or do they have a different name?
So I think in like the last 10 to 15 years, most women's teams have dropped lady. Like it's seen as like antiquated.
I'm antiquated. I'm old. I didn't know that. I still call the Huskies the Lady Huskies. I didn't think that was bad. I'm sorry.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's just like of another time, you know.
Gotcha. Well, Bloomsburg lost to Lock Haven either way.
Which is funny because they're technically like all part of the same like Commonwealth University. Like is a cost-cutting measure, like you have Commonwealth University Bloomsburg, Commonwealth University Lock Haven, and Commonwealth University Mansfield, because the other two couldn't sustain their own universities, so they're all under the Commonwealth University umbrella.
No kidding. You learn stuff every day on Soup and Meatballs.
That's what we're here for, to provide clarity about the state system of higher education.
Notes so we know. Cool. The IUP lady basketball team knocked off California. We talked about that last week. They hadn't beaten them in a while. They had a 1-point win at home, but then they got matched up with the top seed Edinburgh, and they had a heck of a fourth quarter. If you look at the box score, they won the fourth quarter 20-9, but they just lost all the other 3 quarters. They lost by 2 against the top seed. So if IUP and Bloom had won those games, we'd be sitting here. This would be our top story because we'd have an IUP Bloomsburg matchup. But here we are, both knocked out, and I guess we can see if either gets the call in the big tournament. I don't know. I guess they're both on the bubble. I don't know if there's an automatic seed for them. The IUP men's team can also say they won a PSAC game, but they got matched with the top seed. They lost by 30. Their season's over.
And I mean, BU was like, what, 500 or like a little above 500 this year? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the field would look like for the D2 dance, but I would think it's a long shot for BU to get the call.
On the IUP media page, it says IUP awaits the NCAA selection. So, I mean, maybe they think they have a shot. We'll see. I don't know. We'll keep you appraised of the situation. But now, so as we don't get. Oh no, here it is. I put the bracket up there for you. So you can see Edinburgh, Lock Haven could have been IUP Bloomsburg. Alas, what could have been? They played today.
They robbed the world of a potential classic.
Yeah, amazingly. But yeah, now we're trying not to get fined here. So some news in the NFL. The Raiders might have found their quarterback. Geno Smith signed. I don't know what the numbers were, but I know a lot of Seattle fans online were not happy about this because I guess they wanted to keep him around. So now, if you're the Raiders, where do you think they go draft wise? Do they still draft a quarterback, or now do they go somewhere else?
Where did they fall in the draft order?
That is a great question, and one that our producer is telling me they are drafting 6th.
I don't see them going quarterback in the first round.
They'd have to trade up, I would imagine, unless somebody falls.
I mean, everything I've seen is that Cam Ward's going to be like a top 2 guy, depending on, that Abdul Carter might be.
Carter injury creates a little bit of a question there, yeah.
Right, but most people believe that Cam Ward's going to go before Shadur Sanders. And that if Cam
I'm
Ward goes in the top 3, that Shedeur Sanders is probably going to go around between like 6, 7, 8, 9.
the one mock I'm looking at right now has Sanders going to the Giants at 3.
But they just signed all-world quarterback Tommy DeVito.
Oh, did they? Good, dude. The news
the
in New York
day.
is so good.
I sent you the screenshot of the signing with the emoji of like the finger, like the hey Tommy DeVito. Didn't I send that to you?
No, I didn't see it. The one picture you sent was after your arm workout, which we won't talk about.
Oh yeah, I broke the lever on my toilet.
Yeah. I see a Larry Bird, Jason Tatum comp. You've got your Oscar pool. Yeah, I got
didn't
nothing,
send.
man.
Oh boy, I thought I sent you Tommy DeVito.
Well, the news out of New York is bad enough. We don't need to worry about DeVito. It has Oakland taking Oakland. Oh gosh, it has Las Vegas taking Ashton Ginty at 6. Could be an interesting 1-2 there with Smith and Ginty. I don't like this mock draft at all because Will Campbell is going 9th to the Saints, and the Bears are taking Armand Membu, offensive tackle from Missouri. I'd rather Kelvin Banks from Texas.
And it's interesting how 1 year after everyone was proclaiming the running back position dead.
Well, you know what? It's amazing what a Super Bowl win and a historic season will do for the position.
And not just Saquon, but Derrick Henry kind of bringing it back to a place of prominence. And now you have Ashton Ginty being talked about as, number 6 or a top 5 guy.
Where was Bijan Robinson drafted? Was he drafted 8th?
Yeah.
I mean, so another top 10 guy. Saquon was drafted 2nd?
Yeah.
I mean, those are your big name backs. Now, Derrick Henry, I forget where he was drafted, but he feels like a top 10 pick too. It's cool to see a resurgence at that spot. Defensively, Will Johnson not going to do pro day at Michigan now. You hear about that?
I hadn't heard about that. I saw the one that I did see was Will Howard from Ohio State absolutely having just an abysmal performance at the combine, just missing receivers left and right, and now he's banking on having a decent pro day.
Yeah, the worldwide leader just reported last night, Michigan corner Will Johnson has suffered a hamstring injury that will keep him out of the school's pro day later this month. That's a problem for Will Johnson. He, in a lot of mocks earlier, even during the season when he was hurt and not playing, he was a top 4 pick. Now he's out of the top 10.
Yeah, that's going to cost him a couple $1 million.
If you're a team with your first round pick, he is starting to feel maybe a little bit injury prone.
Or
I feel bad for him.
Depending on your need and where you're picking, he could be a value pick.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he'll be a Kansas City Chief next year.
Or a Philadelphia Eagle.
Chiefs pick first. And you know what? I'm sure the Chiefs will trade with the Bills. The Bills will trade with them. Because that's just what they do. What else is going on in the NFL? Oh, the Bears. The Bears got some help along the offensive line. They brought in 2 former Pro Bowlers. And if you look at the year Caleb Johnson had sack-wise, it's good to see. I still want to see them draft a tackle, though. That offensive line needs a complete overhaul, except for maybe Darnell Wright. Caleb Williams should be like begging them more linemen. Matter of fact, they signed the tight end out of Miami. They still have Cole Kmet, but they signed a tight end out of Miami, and the Bears fans groups were saying, "Good, a blocking tight end." So
I'm curious. There's a lot of pass rush help potentially out there because obviously Myles Garrett wants to get out of Cleveland.
Between
San Diego,
Garrett,
what's that?
Bosa got cut.
Yeah, Bosa gets cut. In Cincinnati, that Hendrickson was out of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So there's some guys there like double digit sack guys. Now Bosa, he's had trouble staying on the field.
Between Garrett and Henderson, though, yeah, those are big time players. Henderson's young too.
He is young, and I mean Garrett. I mean, you're talking about like defensive player of the year caliber talent, and he's still only what's he 30, 31?
I don't. He's not old. Bosa feels old, but he's
Both
probably
is
not.
9 years in.
He's got some tread on the tire.
Well, that's because he hasn't played a full season. I think it's since 2021.
Another guy you look at is injury prone. Khalil Mack, another guy that's potentially out there on the older side.
Josh Sweat from the Eagles, they're probably not going to be able to re-sign him, especially with the money they just gave to Zach Bond and the extension to Saquon.
There you go. I would like all of them to sign team-friendly deals in Chicago. I think that's the.
You're gonna like have the 85 Bears 2.0.
I think that's the only thing that might make this calendar year, work for me sports-wise, because we talk about injuries out of New York with Jalen Brunson. I don't know if you saw this. Garrett Cole, arm, I don't know. According to the MLB Network, late Friday night, Cole's going to undergo a diagnostic test on his throwing elbow. Yeah. Now, last year he missed the first 2.5 months. New York was fine. I don't know this year. I mean, heel also hurt. The lineup a little bit down with, Soto and the other side of New York. I don't know where. I'm sure the PECOTA projections have not been updated based on, what was I going to say? Based on this injury. It might take them a day to calculate this in. They still have New York winning 89 games as of, it says as of 3/8. But they have Boston winning 79.6. I don't see that. I really don't. I think Boston is right up there with New York and Baltimore, if not right now above New York, based on the injuries New York has.
Now, what are they? Because I was watching the Yankees the other day when they were getting smoked by the Twins.
That was the game Cole got hurt in, allegedly.
Okay. What are they suspected? Like, what's the diagnostic for it? Like, are they like afraid of like ligament damage or like something like ulnar or like?
It just says throwing elbow. So I mean, like, whenever the test comes out, they might give more information, but it was just one of those. I got the pop-up on my phone during dinner last night. I was enjoying a marvelous seafood lasagna from Mario's restaurant.
What a feast.
And excuse me. I told you my cough is bad too. I was enjoying my dinner and my phone dinged. I'm like, Cole, arm, injury. Then I was done.
Four words was all it took to ruin dinner. Cole, arm, injury, ugh.
Well, the was mine. So credit to John Morosi for that one. I haven't followed Boston this week in terms of spring training, but no massive injuries coming out of Red Sox camp, so that's probably a good thing for you. What have your people told you out of Boston?
It's fun. Like, I'm so limited in like what I can even like. I've been watching some spring training, but I haven't seen much of Boston. Like, I just catch whatever ESPN. Like, I saw some Philadelphia and Pittsburgh the other day. I saw, that Yankees Twins game. I've watched very little, if any, of Boston. I just see what ESPN has, and I catch the stray game here and there.
Dwight Evans made an appearance.
Did you say Dewey Evans made an appearance?
Dwight Evans.
Yeah.
He might have showed up with Dewey. Is Dwight Dewey? Am I just?
Yeah. People call him Dewey Evans.
I saw Andy Pettitte was at Yankee camp. I wonder if they offered him a contract.
I mean, look, no matter the age, a lefty's always valuable.
I would take him. Couple weeks till opening day. Who does Boston open up with?
I don't know. I was listening to the ESPN guys during that Yankee game. They were talking about their schedule, but I don't know where Boston opens.
Yeah, well, what did you say Cone said during that game?
They were talking about the over and under for total wins for the Dodgers, And
And if it was
they said,
106.5, he was going over?
yeah, Cone said he would take the over if it's 106.5 for wins for the Dodgers this year. Which, I mean, look, will the Dodgers win 100? Probably. Certainly if they stay healthy.
Yeah.
But
Well,
say that you would bet on them winning more than 106. Like 106 plus is like historic territory. Like that's what people would have said about the Braves like in 2022 when they lost to the Phillies. Like that team that was stacked with like a healthy Acuna and all that.
yeah.
And look what happened to them. You know, baseball's a funny game like that. Baseball, more than any sport, is more prone to upsets and unexpected losses.
You get one. It's like hockey in a way where, a goalie could carry you. You get one really good start out of a guy, and it gets in the other team's head. Yeah, you're right. That's one of the things I like about baseball, where they are the odds-on prohibitive favorites, but if there's 31 in the field that are just as well, not 31 in the field. We do have the White Sox.
They don't count. The A's. Where are they even playing? Are we still in Sacramento?
Yeah, I think they're going to be in Sacramento this year. So we have two major league teams playing in minor league stadiums, which is always a fun thing. So quick hitters today. We got four at bats for you. Are you ready?
I'm always ready for some quick hitters.
All right, number one. I think we might have talked about this off air, but the Pittsburgh Pirates teamed up with Topps on a Paul Skeens giveaway. Like whoever found this golden ticket card would get like all kinds of prizes: season tickets for 30 years, a meet and greet with Skeens, a jersey. They could hang out with Livy Dunn in her suite. So I don't know if you saw this. An 11-year-old from Los Angeles gets the winning ticket, winning card, and the Pirates sent him the offer, and the kid's like, "Nah, I don't
thank
want
you."
it." So is this a big story, or should we really be surprised that a Los Angeles kid said no to the Pirates offer?
Look, if nothing else, it's embarrassing for the Pirates. I mean, you
This
talk
in
about trying
middle
to grow the
school in
sport.
California. What's he going to do? Come to Pittsburgh for 80 games? Come on.
Right, but still, to have like a giveaway like that to try to like prop up your team and have a little kid be like he was just given socks on Christmas morning. No, thank you. You're the socks of Major League Baseball, but thanks.
My first thought was they're putting it up for auction now. What was the house? I think that it's Fan Auction House. And I thought to myself, if I bid on this, let's say I bid $30 and I win, do I get all that cool stuff? Do I get to meet Paul Skeens and 30 season tickets worth of Pirates baseball? Do you think they extend it to the next guy? Would you, if you're the Pirates?
Yeah, I would think so. And I mean, what do you think you could sell that for if you didn't want to like make good on it?
Well, if the Pirates are not going to offer the next person that thing, it's really just a baseball card. So I don't know, a couple $1,000 maybe. I mean, Paul Skeens is a really, really, really good player. Let's get that straight. But he's also 1 year in, and he's got the wonkiest wind up and release that I've seen in quite some time. He is Tommy John waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to call him the next Roger Clemens or next Pedro just yet. So I'm not going to say it's $1 million card, but yeah, a couple thousand, I bet.
I mean, look, and I like Paul Skeens, but I mean, guys our age, we remember Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, I mean, but if the Pirates are gonna spice it up a little bit like that, I'm sure there's a Pirates fan who would jump in on it. So we'll see. Number two, and this is only something that I'm going to talk about here because I have zero knowledge. Alex Ovechkin scored his 885th goal in the third period, ties the game, whatever. But he is now within 9 of tying. There's some guy named Wayne Gretzky. Have you followed this chase at all, Tim? Does it matter to you at all?
I mean, it matters a little bit, but I think what's most impressive about Gretzky, and I think one of the most impressive stats in sports, You can take away every goal he ever scored, and he would still be the leading point scorer in
Point
NHL
scorer.
history. Just because
Is
of
that a
how
thing?
like that's how many assists he had.
That's amazing. So there's a page on some social media. Take away the Barry Bonds stats that you don't believe are real. Like if you take away, all of his singles, he still that's like one of those Barry Bonds stats for Wayne Gretzky. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like Hank Aaron. If you took away all his home runs, he'd still be in the 3,000 hit club.
There you go. Cool. All right, number 3. Today in history, 1971. You know what happened?
1971.
8th, 1971.
I do not.
In the world of sports.
Well,
that's right. The fight of the century.
Ali Frazier?
Ali Frazier. Now, since we're in a new century, Tim, is there a new fight of the century you would be interested in seeing?
Of existing, like MMA or boxers?
Of existing humans.
Of existing humans.
Yeah, let's put them in a ring and sell tickets. Who's going to sell tickets?
I would like to see Manute Bol's son, fight Victor Wembanyama. I think it would be like lashing 2 phone cords at each other. Like eventually they would just get tangled.
I'm thinking Spaceballs. There you go. That would be something to watch. And now we're going to go a little local here for you because, local lead stuff. Some PIAA news for the people. First of all, I'm getting over something. The Chambersburg boys basketball, my high school's boys basketball team opens up states against Whitehall. Tim, do you remember the Whitehall high school nickname?
Yeah, they're the Zephyrs.
And you know what a zephyr is?
A strong wind.
I thought it was a small breeze, but either way, it's a win. Shout out to Dan Rigotti for learning that back in high school. So Chambersburg has an Ohio Bobcat commit in their front court. So good luck to the Trojans. The Hazleton boys must have had a dream run through district playoffs to make the state tournament. They open at Northampton today. If they win, they likely get the overall top seed, the 1 seed out of District 1, Conestoga. And if the Wills will allow it, we could have a Cougar-Trojan Final Four matchup in the state. I don't exactly see that happening, but it would be kind of cool. Right?
I think we took for granted when we were in school how good the basketball program was, like making like deep state runs, and going when we were in 8th grade, going to the state championship.
I didn't. Until I got into the media, I didn't really understand or I guess really care how impressive it was to win the district. So even like winning a state playoff game, just winning District 2, and that's where shout Bruce Lieb out. Lieb was a tremendous coach. He may have been a surly McSurly in the lunchroom.
Yeah, I got in trouble from Coach Lieb.
I got in trouble too, and he's my cousin.
Bum rap.
So and the one thing you can say about him, he was never he was never favorable to his relations. We were like 2 feet away from the garbage, and I like under layupped my trash into the bag, and he
finger roll.
Flipped out on me. Somebody sent me to the principal. So I go to the principal's office, true story, and Dr. Clarence John not in the office, so I'm sitting there waiting. Here comes Mr. Lieb, and he's yelling at me like, "Why are you in here waiting?" I'm like, "Because you told me to." I was late for Mr. Connolly's class, and guess Mr. Connolly wasn't putting up with that. Oh, that was a bad day for me. Oh man, but Bruce Lieb, heck of a basketball coach, and disciplinarian. Yeah, that was Kobe. I tell my kids this. Great trivia question. Who was Kobe Bryant's final high school loss? Hazleton area.
Hazleton area in overtime.
And I always used to joke with Terry Kringy, because Terry was on my Little League team. And when I would see Terry doing, when I was doing sports TV, I would always joke with him, like, Kobe fears Terry. And he'd give me that Terry smile, like, yeah, okay, whatever. But then we have a Final Four matchup with the boys. Speaking of, Hazleton and good coaches, our buddy Joe Gavio has the Lady Cougars, or the Hazleton area Girls Cougars, whatever we call them, 26-0. They just steamrolled Cheltenham in the first round. They had their first round state matchup. They get the 3 seed out of District 11, Bethlehem Liberty next, and a win there could set up a massive state matchup. Perkiomen Valley is ranked 6th in the state. Hazleton ranked 5th in the state. So your quick hitter, who do you have in that potential matchup, Hazleton or Perkiomen?
I'm taking the Cougars.
Go
Gotta take the alma mater.
Go Joe Gav.
And he's one of the good ones. Gotta love Joe Gav.
So I tell you, I got to tell you this. When I was doing TV, there were some coaches that were easy to talk to, and there were some coaches that kind of made me nervous a little bit. Like the first time I interviewed George Curry, and not that I was like in awe of George Curry, but the sports director at the station all but told me, don't mess this up, because George didn't talk to the media, and he was buddies with Timmy Thompson. So he's like, don't mess this up. Okay. And one of the last times I interviewed a Berwick quarterback, I forget who the guy was, but he was a lefty quarterback who was also a pitcher. And I told him,
Frank Jankowski.
No.
Preston Force? I was trying to think of lefty quarterbacks who pitched. Yeah. I digress.
I for some reason, I think his name was David, but either way.
Jared Marshman?
No, definitely not. But anyway, I was joking with the kid, and I said, if you work on a changeup, you could you'd have a good career in a bullpen somewhere as a lefty. And Curry looked at me. He's like, "Did you just tell a football player to go play baseball in my office?" I'm like, yeah, I guess I did. And I don't think I was really nervous about him kicking me out or actually like sanctioning me. But but back to Gavio. Gavio was great because you didn't have to give him too much lead time, and he would just talk. One question, I would get 7 sound bites out of him for a package. It was great, and he was always smiling and congenial. And I think his ear he needs to hear you better, so he'd always get close to you. He was a close talker, and that was okay with me because I liked him. What was your favorite coach to interview back in the day?
Curry's up there. Curry was a character. The stuff he would say on the record, and especially the stuff he would say off the record.
Off the record stuff, I can imagine was fun.
Yeah. Jim Roth at Southern was always a good one, just because you talk about like he was like it was like having office hours with the professor, where you would ask one question and he would fill up your notebook by diagramming like the X's and O's of the Delaware wing T. He's
like the opposite of Rocco Petrone. I would always joke with, because he would give me the coach stuff, one game at a time. We're going to see where things happen and this and this. And once the camera went off, I smiled like, thank you for a wonderful sound bite. And he was that old school guy. He wasn't going to give anybody any kind of, newspaper material. Even like the head coach from Coughlin wasn't watching my sports show. But nice Roth was giving you the opposite.
Yeah, and George wasn't against, giving you the occasional provocative quote. Like I remember when they beat Crestwood to win the District 2 title in 2013. And no, they beat Crestwood.
Berwick or at Valley West then?
It was his second time around at Berwick. Okay. And they beat Abington Heights, whose quarterback was like a Division I level basketball player.
That's a big program.
Yeah. And one of the reporters from Upriver said, George, their quarterback is a Division I basketball recruit. Like their basketball team has a good chance of going to states. And Curry looks back at him and goes, yeah, well, their basketball coach should thank me. He can start his season a week sooner.
I love it. That's so George. That's great. The other coach I could remember was Floyd Weist when he was the baseball coach at Hayfie. Before I would ever talk to him, he was, now what are you gonna ask me? And I'd have to be like, well, Floyd, I hate to tell you this, but like my interviews aren't really. I just kind of talk to you, and like what you say, I just go back and forth. That's not gonna do it for me. You better tell me what you're gonna ask. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask you. Who do you think? Who do you think is going to help you the most this year? And then I would start talking to him, and you'd get the look. Jamelli, what are you doing to me? But I never made him look. He always had good quotes. He was great with the media. He was just really
In a situation like that, you'd be like, all right, so my first question is this, my second question. And then as soon as the camera's on, you go, all right, so Floyd, how's the marriage?
How's
Just to
Scotty
bring
doing
the
right now?
tension.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that was good stuff. So the Lady Cougars, big week coming up for them. Good luck to them. We'll see how Joe gets them going. And we are through what you consider the A block of soup and meatballs, and now we're at the lighter side. And we're still going to stick with sports. I saw this picture during the week, and I sent it over to you. Something about there's 2 outs, and you need a single to win the game. Who do you want up to bat? So I think we need context here, because we're going to draft players who we would want in that situation. But I think there needs to be context, right? You agree?
I agree.
So there are 2 outs, and we need a single. Does that mean we're tied? Does that mean we're down by 1 and like 2 speedsters are on second and third? What are we doing here?
So I took it as just prolong the inning, however, whether it's work a walk, get a single.
Okay.
That's how I read the question.
Sounds good to me. My list works for that.
Just like a good quality at bat.
All right, so we have our famous American Documents deck. Number and color.
4 black.
4 black. Okay, so we're going to get a little closer. 1, 2, 3. Here's number 4, and Wesley Snipes let you down. The 6 of diamonds, we put the light back on, is Marbury versus Madison, a legal case considered one of the foundations of U.S. constitutional law.
1804?
1803. That's good for you, though.
I had to take law classes. I had to take media law classes.
I mean, just for that, I'm going to award you with who I feel your first pick will be. I will pick Tony Gwynn, because I think any situation where I need a single, Tony Gwynn's going to go get it somehow. When Greg Maddux has like that quote about you, like, yeah, I'd get anybody out except that blank Tony Gwynn. Yeah,
the fact that they call the hole between short and third the 5.5 because Tony Gwynn could not only reasonably expect to get a bat on the ball, but that he could put it through the 5.5 on a hit and run. Who else can do that in the history of the game? Who else can call their shot on a grounder?
Was he the one? I think I heard the story that a game was postponed or like rain delayed, and he went up to the pitcher and said, "You're going to throw a slider, and I'm going to hit it out into the gap, and I'm going to hit a double, and we're going to win the game," or something like that. Was that him?
Yeah, that was against the Reds in the 90s.
I love that. That's tremendous. So yeah, Gwen I think is an easy number 1, and I think your number 1 is when I had it in my head.
Oh yeah, I want Teddy Ballgame.
Ted Williams is the other one. Wow. Just one hit. That's all you need. You don't need a home run. You don't need a double. Just get on base.
And again, even beyond that, like just a great on base guy. He could work a walk with the best of them.
Yeah. So now this is where I needed at least some kind of adjudication with situations. So when we're saying a walk is as good as a hit, I don't care if it's pre-needle, post-needle, big head, little head. I'm going to take Barry Bonds.
Yeah, he was right. He was 3 on my list.
And honestly, when you are intentionally walked with the bases loaded, I saw this great video, a back and forth. Like I have an iPad and you have an iPad, and I'm interviewing Greg Maddux and you're with Barry Bonds, and they're just going back and forth with this first inning at bat. And like Bonds is calling exactly what Maddux is doing, and Maddux is like, "Well, I probably want to do this, but I should do this." And like Bonds called it. What's a bummer about Barry Bonds, despite the PED situation, he was such a surly McSurly too. He was such a grouch, but holy cow, he was just an amazing student of the game. He was so smart, but his reputation, like a lot of people can't see past that. And it's, for me, sometimes it's even hard.
Yeah, and now, 20 years after the fact, and he's 60, and he is doing some of that stuff more. And I think it has been eye-opening, certainly for people like, us who were watching him, in the early 2000s, but he wasn't sitting with reporters and talking about his process. And it's so eye-opening now to hear him, that he's older, talk about. I saw an interview with him the other day where he was talking about, like, someone asked him, like, if you had to go up there and hit against some guy who's throwing 100 miles an hour, like, and Bonds was like, 100 miles an hour. He's like, I'm 60, I'll go up. He's like, no human arm is going to throw it past me. Like, I can buggy whip that bat through the zone. You can throw it 110 miles an hour. I'm going to hit it. Like,
and who am I to doubt that?
Right. I mean, even now at 60 or 61 or however old he is, I wouldn't put it past him to be able to turn around on 100 miles an hour.
So the video I saw, the Barry Bonds stats that you just wouldn't believe are real.
He hit a 600 on base percentage.
It was something. No, the one year it was like he would have to do 189 consecutive outs, and that would give, I think it was Todd Helton that might have been. Todd Helton might have been tied for on base percentage then. So 189 straight outs. That's insane.
Well, because people talk about, the 73 home runs in 01. But you look at his
04 that were a bigger deal, I think.
Yeah, you look at that 04 season where he walks 230 times and has an OBP of 600. To get on base 60% of the times is unlike
in a
anything I've
league,
seen.
In a sport where if you succeed 30% of the time, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. If you have a 400 on base percentage, that's elite. And to be, for that first number to be a 6 is
percent more. Yeah,
ridiculous.
So we could talk about how crazy Bonds is for hours and hours, but I'm putting him on my team. Who do you got number 2? I imagine we're gonna have some overlap here beyond Bonds.
So if we're talking not only great contact hitter, but a good on base guy, and then speed once he's on there, I want Ichiro.
Oh, he was my number 3.
Yeah, a lefty who can slap hit, great bunter. He's getting on base.
When I put the list together, I ranked them, but I didn't rank them. Yeah, Ichiro. Oh yeah, I mean, just the speed factor, because like a slap, a bouncer that goes 10 feet in the air, that's as good as a line drive in this situation.
You're getting another tour of my house because I forgot.
I was saying, where are you going, man?
I have to get my water bottle.
Oh no, yeah, my water is empty, so if I cough, I have some generic antacids that might help me, but that's a sweet cup. No, I like Ichiro's speed and the fact that as a contact guy, all you need is a single. He had some secret pop to him too.
He did.
He could hit into the gap and get extra bases if he needed it.
And once he's on base, he's a problem. I had to plug back in too. That's why you got a little view of my ceiling.
There you go. I appreciate that. So my number 3. I'm gonna do it. I feel bad doing it. I feel homerific doing it. But if I need a single, you're not going to pitch him inside because he can inside out you. You're not going to pitch him outside because he's got a good opposite field swing. I'll take Derek Jeter.
He was on my. I had him in my bottom 5, but
like I said, I think we're going to get a lot of overlap here. And is it fanish? Yeah, maybe. But he's been in situations too. So I want a guy who the moment's not going to be too big for him. The picture didn't say this specifically, but Game 7 of the World Series. I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him.
And can any living human being say they have more hits than him?
No.
I mean,
when I get this all the time on TikToks or Instagrams or whatever that he's the most overrated human on the planet. And you can't name 6 people who have ever walked on this planet with more major league hits. I don't care about your convoluted defensive metrics. There's no such thing as a top 10 Major League Baseball player in any category that you can call overrated to me and say anything. Well, if he was in Kansas City, he'd still have the most hits of anybody living, so he wouldn't be overrated then.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that with athletes who play in major markets, the needle goes one way, where when Jeter was coming up and everyone was like, oh, this Jeter guy's the best guy in the league. And then everyone sort of overcorrects and they're like, oh, he's not that good defensively. And now here we are where the needle's maybe settling, where it's like, that Jeter guy was pretty good. He wasn't a perfect defender. He was an elite hitter. And,
that's what I need winner right now. I need a single right now. I don't need someone to turn a 6-4-3 double play.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's exactly why Jeter's on my list, because how many times did he come up in big situations and make me slap my forehead?
At least twice.
So talking about homers, although this is a guy who did it for both of our sides, I want Wade Boggs.
Okay. I can't argue there.
I took a lot of guys who were from our lifetimes, and I mean, you look at Boggs between like 84 and 89, where he's winning batting titles every year. He's working walks. And he was every bit the problem Tony Gwynn was. Just he didn't quite do it as long as Tony Gwynn did.
Another guy who, no matter where you put the ball in one of the 9 zones, he can hit it, and he can hit it with direction. He was one of the better directional hitters from what I remember. If you needed something to write, he could get you one. And again,
he was really good at taking it the other way off the monster too. Just tough with 2 strikes. I forget what his career average was with 2 strikes, but it was over. It might have been over 350, which is ridiculous.
262.
262. Oh, I was way off.
But I mean, you look at Tony Gwynn's career batting average with 2 strikes, it's 302. That's what, an extra hit a week?
Yeah.
I mean, the career on base percentage, Boggs 415. That's what we just called when we're talking about Bonds. That's really good.
What were they with runners in scoring position? I'm curious.
Career batting average with runners in scoring position.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
324.
Okay.
So here's the situation with 2 outs and in runner scoring position, probably around 300, we'll say.
Yeah.
So I mean, for a 3 pick, for a 3rd draft pick, that's outstanding.
Oh yeah. I mean, he for my money, pure hitter. He was the 2nd best pure hitter of the 80s.
Okay, so I have some choices here, and you know what? I'm gonna take somebody just because I can, and it was not in what I would have listed as my top 10. He was just the last one out, because now I know a walk is as good as a hit. I'm not going to take Eddie Geidel. That's cheating.
He was on my list.
Was he? Well, I'm not taking him. You can take him. I'm going to take Willie Keeler. Willie Keeler.
Wee Willie.
Because Willie Keeler never strikes out. He had like 12 strikeouts, I think, in his life. I need somebody to put the ball in play, and I think Willie Keeler's on base percentage. I have to look this up now because I didn't think I was going to draft him, but I'm going to anyway. So Willie Keeler stats from the early years of baseball. Oh no, this is not good. His on base is only 388.
Oh, he's not a sabermetric god.
No, but I mean,
do you want to change it to Nap Lajoie?
You know how many
Some
times
other dead baller?
You know how many times he struck out though in 19 seasons?
Is it under 100?
No, it's 136.
Oh God,
that's so odd. Like, this kid, they just put the ball in play, and something will happen. And he has, did they not track this back then? Oh, he had only 524 career walks. So the ball is going to be put in play with Willie Keeler. That might not be a good pick, but I don't care.
I like
You're taking Eddie Geidel to walk, so.
Do you happen to know what Eddie Goodell's uniform number was?
1/2?
I believe it was 3/8, but it was a fraction.
That's funny.
So I have a couple different ways I can go with this. I'm going to go with someone who we had talked about right around Christmas for unfortunate reasons. I'm going to go with Ricky Henderson. Another on-base guy who obviously pitchers are going to be very careful how they pitch him because they don't want to put him on first.
Ricky likes that pick. I think situationally, I mean, I think Ricky's probably a better player than Keeler in this spot, but situationally, 2 outs and I need a single, I'm not worried if I put him on base. I need to get him out. And that's – I'll probably pitch him differently than I would at the beginning of the game or the beginning of an inning. Still, I think a stronger pick than Willie Keeler in the 4th round. And Ricky's a guy who would put the ball in play. Let's see here, because he didn't make my list. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I only typed in Henderson stats, and Gunnar Henderson came up first. Big Ricky on base 40% of the time, 401 average. But in his 25 seasons, do you want to venture a guess how many strikeouts Ricky has?
In 25 seasons?
25 seasons.
850.
Oh, my heavens, no.
I'm way off.
Oh, yeah, you're way off.
How many?
1694.
Ooh. Well, over 25.
But that's an average of 89 per season.
Right, so he's getting the bat on the ball.
Willie Keeler, because they don't do the average for me. 136 divided by 19 is an average of 7 per season. That's so awesome. I love baseball numbers.
Willie Keeler selling tickets.
Ricky, being Ricky at 4. So now I have some honorable mentions. They're not going to get it. Gosh. And I'm not going to pick him just because I'm not going to pick him. All right, I have to make up for Willie somehow, and find me somebody who has more hits than Pete Rose. Pete Rose puts the ball in play. I'm going to pick Pete Rose in my 5 spot. And he made 7 on the list that I made.
And Pete Rose, especially a problem because he's a switch hitter. So if you're going to the bullpen to try to turn him around, or it's going to be tough because he was a guy who I believe he was stronger as a right-handed hitter, if I remember right.
They won't give you those numbers online, but back in the day, it always felt like a better hitter was righty.
Yeah, I want to say Rose was a natural righty who taught himself to bat lefty, kind of like Mickey Mantle. Okay. But you're right. 4,256 hits tells you the guy knows how to get on base.
And not a guy who's going to strike out a lot. I mean, he struck out an average of 52 times a year. He's over 1,000 strikeouts, but in 24 years that happens. Yeah. Not a big walker though either. So I mean, the ball was put in play. So we're definitely going on the assumption that a ball in play saves the day.
And he's been pardoned, so he's got that going for him.
He's got that going for him. So he finds his way onto my team in the 5 hole.
So I have 2 honorable mentions. Obviously, Eddie Goodell was one of my honorable mentions.
That's good. He would have made the team if I needed a walk. That would have been a funny pick.
And another guy who memories of 04, 07, and 13 ringing in my head. David Ortiz was an honorable mention.
I'm surprised Ortiz didn't make the cut. Honestly, I didn't put him on my list thinking you would take him. I thought he would have been like your Jeter. My
number 5, I'm going to go with not only one of the great hitters of the 70s, but a guy who was name checked by the Beastie Boys. We're going with Rod Carew.
A Hall of Famer, Rod Carew.
I got more action than my man John Woo, and I got mad hits like I was Rod Carew.
Dude, that's 2 songs he was in. That's 2 more than us. Good for him.
Yeah, another guy. You know, he's the Tony Gwynn of the '70s.
Yeah,
you know, perennial threat to have a run at 400, and just in that kind of situation, he's going to be a problem.
The numbers back then, he 364, 388, 359 on bases, 420, 430, 450. Let's see. They don't put it down there. Can you tell me, Mr. Smarty Pants, how many doubles does Rod Carew have all time?
How many years did he play?
19. Oh, you're going to give me a legit guess. I love this.
675.
445. But I think that's reasonably close. I'm not embarrassed.
My guess at Ricky's strikeouts.
I'm not embarrassed for you. Yeah. The guys that made my list, the absolute number one plate appearance to strikeout ratio, a guy named Joe Sewell, played for the Yankees in the 30s. Another Yankee who doesn't strike out, puts the ball in play, and I figured my dad would have picked him. Joe DiMaggio made the list. Mr. Cardinal, Stan Musial made my list, and he's a surly. I don't want to say the word, but I came close that time. Ty Cobb was a guy. But we're picking guys that you might have seen and been around for. I would probably get rid of Willie Keeler, and if I had to pick somebody clutch right now, for no reason other than I think he's just a really, really good hitter, I might pick Mookie Betts today.
Yeah, Betts is a good one.
Or Freddie Freeman. I mean, that's something.
I was going to say Freddie Freeman based on, I'm not trying to dredge up any bad memories.
I just need a single, though, and I think Mookie gets me a single at the very least. Either way.
And he's another guy who can scoot a little bit. If it's on the ground, he could beat it out.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Top 5 now. Top 5 is topical. If you are of a certain faith this week, what's our top 5, Tim?
Well, we both grew up very devoutly Catholic. Holy Rosary Church, Poplar Street, Hazleton, PA represent.
Shout out Monsignor Janella.
What's that?
Shout out Monsignor Janella.
Right. And,
Yankee fan, Pat Janella, by the way.
What's that?
He was a Yankee fan.
He was.
Father Janella was.
And this week, of course, Wednesday was Ash Wednesday. So I said to you, what are the 5 hardest things to give up for Lent?
Oh, okay. So I read that as what were the 5 toughest things to give up as a kid.
Oh, well, okay. We could do it either way.
Well, I mean, I have a list, and I had to actually kind of blend it with today. So I mean that works. So I'll give you a little bit of insight into both. So I got the top pick in the draft. So you lead us off. What is your number 5? If you ranked them, I don't know if you ranked them.
My number 5 is fitting because I'm talking to you on it right now. It would be really hard to give up my phone for Lent. I mean, my life is on my phone. I do my banking through my phone. It's my tether to the world. It's how I stay in touch with my brothers. It's how I log into work.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, that would be that's almost akin to giving up pants. That's
right. Which I'm willing.
Which ironically is my number 5. Giving up.
I will do for my God.
Yeah. I mean, I had a hard time coming up with 5. So I've never done this before. So I will tell you, I cheated a little. I Googled what do kids give up for Lent now, and one of the things was complaining. And I thought to myself, dude, you should listen to me at work. I whine and moan more than anybody in the world. This and this and this. We're going to have a fire drill. It's raining. I hate the weather. This and this. If I had to give up complaining, I might have to give up talking. It'd be like giving up cursing. I don't know how I do that.
Even when I get up, my body complains, even though I'm not verbalizing it, my back is I have to do this again.
I'd like to give up the knee crack when I stand up. Where did I sign up for that?
Yeah, I turned 40 and suddenly I inherited Larry Bird's back. I spent half my work shift just lying on my stomach on the ground. wondering how I'm going to defend Chuck Person.
Those extra hacks I took in the cage. I'm like, I'm adding these back. No, it's my knees.
My knees too. My knee. Well, yeah. Everyone can hear it when I stand up.
Our viewers are like, we get it. You're old. Move on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm complaining. I've given that up. So.
I'll give you another one here. You wouldn't know it from watching this because we try to keep it family friendly, but it would be hard for me to give up cursing.
Oh, I can't. Oh yeah,
I love cursing so much.
I don't know what it was when I was growing up. I tell my father-in-law this story because my father-in-law is colorful. We'll put it that way. I just it was like this weird like taboo thing. You're not allowed to do this. There's a word you can say in front of your dad, and you're going to get cracked for it. But I'm going to say it anyway, and nobody's going to know. Yeah. Oh, that'd be tough. But as a human who deals with a young public, I tell them I have a very good filter, and working in the media helped with that. Because what I tell people, or anywhere you're on a camera or a microphone's always on. It'll watch what you say, right? So like when we're doing our pre-show before we hit the live button, I mean, you watch what you say because, oh, shoot, I didn't hit the end stream button. That would be a challenge. You're not wrong.
Yeah, I remember being like 6 or so and being at like some kind of like summer camp. I was there with my brother Dave, who's 2 years older, and like all the kids were cursing, but I'd been told that cursing was like, like a sin, like you can't do it, like. And so I remember like, but I really wanted to do it because the older kids made it seem so cool, So I was like, I go to David and I was like, Dave, like, is it like bad if we curse? And he was like, if you apologize to God when you do it, it's okay. So like I would curse and I'd be like, I'm sorry. And then it got to a point where I was cursing so much, I was like, the hell with this.
So, the way I look at it, if you go through the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain, there's one blend of a curse that I try to still stay away from. But the other words are just words. Like George Carlin said, it's a word. It's the idiot using it you have to worry about. Like, you know what? You're effing right there. So it's just a word. My number 4 kind of goes along with your number 5 because they kind of work together, and it's for especially kids today. I would have a hard time. I know some people do it. Some of my friends do it. I'm going to say social media.
Yeah.
And I don't post a lot, but I doom scroll a lot. And if you're counting TikTok as social media, because it is, I mean, I spend many minutes whilst evacuating my bowels watching goofy videos on Barry Bonds stats. So
I watch a lot of cooking videos on TikTok.
Do you like Chef Reactions? I love that guy.
Chef Reactions.
Oh, yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah, like
did you see the guy? I sent you the video. The guy who's like, "Don't blank this up." I don't know what his name is.
Was it the one you sent to me on Facebook?
Yeah. No. It was a TikTok video.
Okay.
We're gonna make beef stew. Don't screw it up. But he doesn't say screw. And then he just angrily tells you what to put in. Oh, he's awesome too. I don't know. I don't know their names. I know Chef Reactions.
I know Chef Reactions. There's some like sketch comedy groups I follow.
Yeah, but I'd have a hard time giving that up for like, I don't know, 2 days, let alone 40.
Because like I get so much of my news off of Twitter that would be hard for me, even though Twitter's become, a bit of a racist hellscape.
But it's still a social media of you're communicating with just a different, varied population.
Yeah, and I think that would be the biggest thing that and texting would be the biggest things I'd struggle with my
texting.
son.
I'm not going to consider social media. I think of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. I might say Snapchat. I don't do Snapchat. That's definitely a kid thing.
I would consider.
But if you told a kid they can't do those kind of apps, yeah, they would They couldn't do it for one day, let alone 40.
I'm gonna go with my TV is almost always on. It would be really hard for me to even limit my TV, let alone go without TV for 40 days.
So my top 3 were things that I tried as a kid. TV was number 1.
Yeah, I don't. It would be hard for me to go a week.
Now here's the thing: during the summer, my father and I go to Seven Springs every summer for 9 days for the World Board Gaming Championships, and for the bulk of the day, and I'm telling you, I mean, from like 7 in the morning till sometimes 3 in the morning, I am playing board games. There are still times I will check Facebook or check. There's a website called Board Game Geek. I consider that social media. Like I'm on my phone logging stuff and doing that stuff. But I don't watch TV. I can get rid of TV for 9 days, but that's simply because I'm so immersed in board gaming that I don't notice it. But 40 regular season days, I think would be impossible. I don't know how.
It would just be hard for me, like I fall asleep to TV.
Jen, I do.
Yeah, it would just be.
I don't watch a ton of it. I mean, it might be an hour and a half a day, but like you said, sometimes it's on, and you need like white noise.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is for me. Just to have something in the background.
That made my number 1. Although now that I'm relooking at my list, maybe it shouldn't have. There's another one out there that's just terrible.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
What's your 2?
What's my 2? I've tried to go without meat, and it's just
like for the whole time.
Yes,
like every day. Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, we do the whole Friday thing around here, or I do the Friday thing, but it leads me to seafood lasagna.
See, I've tried to do it because, like, for health reasons, just with my heart. Like, I've been like, what if I go like pescatarian? Like, I only eat fish, no beef, no chicken, but a burger. Oh my God, it's so good. Steak. Oh, like ground meat and like lasagna or something like that. I mean, meatballs.
So, I mean, aside from meatballs, you know what my favorite meat might be? Like sandwich meat. Like shaved baked ham.
I have no control over
that's good. That's tough.
I really have to limit how
that's
much
tough.
I keep it
now. My number 3, which probably would have been tough as a kid, I could do it now, unless you count the stupid things on the phone. I said video games. I can't imagine. So this was growing up, trying to not play Nintendo. And I think that was a year that, that was like a suggestion. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll try. And I mean, the Lenten season is like around now. It's not like the summer where you're like, I'm just going to go out and ride my bike all day and it's fine.
Right.
You're inside a lot. So that as a 12-year-old kid, that's hard, man.
And it's funny because I don't play video games now, and I have.
I count the phone games.
Okay, then yes, I do.
Yeah, see, I'm Mob Control. This is a video game, and I play the heck out of it. So yeah, I count that.
I do a lot of like logic puzzles on my phone, and I play Marvel Strike.
Connection.
Big Marvel.
That's a stretch now. Is Connections and like Wordle, are they video games or are they puzzles? Right. I might lawyer you into those are puzzles and not games.
Okay. Because I do a lot of those. I do Sporkle quizzes. Your
9x9 grid. Yeah, that's they're puzzles. I won't call you on those.
But yeah, Marvel Strike Force I play every day.
Yeah, that's a game.
Yeah. This one might surprise you, but it's something I always have in the house. Ice cream would be really hard for me.
You know who would? Jen loves ice cream. There's a place here in town called Windy Knoll. They make this gallon of ice cream. Tim, it's $11. It's underpriced. It's all homemade. It's amazing. Yeah. What's your favorite ice cream?
I'm a big mint chocolate chip guy.
Mint chocolate chip. That's right.
or anything with peanut butter.
No. When you come down to officiate our renewal of vows as a Lebowski judge, this place, the Windy Knoll, has the best peanut butter ice cream. Forget about it.
I will tell you, in Bloomsburg, it's Brennan's Big Chill on Iron Street. They make their own. They always have vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. Otherwise, they swap in different flavors like every 2 days.
Here's what we need to do then. We need to map quest in the middle. I will bring the gallon of peanut butter overload. You bring the Brenna stuff, and the lot of us will just sit and we'll scoop out of the.
The mint chocolate chip that they have at Brennan's is called Pesky Penguin, and they make it with Andy's candies.
We had this. I remember hearing about that, and I'm not a big mint guy, but I would try some of it because I like Andy's candies.
And it's funny because I was at the bakery the other day, and I was thinking of Jen because I picked up a piece of carrot cake.
Oh, that's nice. I've had friends in college like carrot cake. It never hit me. I was also never a big cake guy.
I'm not a huge cake guy, but something about carrot cake, like the spicy.
Carrot cake is a thing, huh?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, we're in the neighborhood. So my number 2, which I really think should have been my number 1, junk food. Potato chips, Doritos, Cheetos, Fritos, Mojitos, whatever Eatos we got, man. Oh, I love Doritos so much.
Me too.
And I told you this. I did this once. This is one of those things. Just to say I did it, I picked up a bag, opened it up, ate one, and put it away. And I hated myself the rest of the day. I hate myself now.
I'd be punching walls for no reason. I was just like,
it's like 6 hours later. What's wrong? I ate one Dorito 6 hours ago. Yeah, but any kind of junk. I throw candy in there too. Like I try not to have a lot of candy in the house, but Maria, she loves Hershey chocolate bars, so they're always around. My dad's a big M&M guy, so there's always M&Ms up at his house.
Peanut butter M&Ms
stuff. But for me, the fruit gems, Skittles, Nerds, the fruity stuff, all that kind of junk food. That I try not to eat anyway. But you give yourself a treat every so often. So I don't know if I've gone 40 straight days without some kind of junk food.
I can't keep Doritos in the house. I think the last time I had Doritos in the house was for the Super Bowl.
You know what's amazing now? The flavors of Doritos. We grew up with Cool Ranch and nacho cheese. You're a nacho guy. You're a purist, dude. If you get a chance, the Buffalo hot Doritos, great. Oh, they're phenomenal.
I'm such a nacho cheese loyalist that I would go to sleepovers and I'd be like, oh, this is a Cool Ranch house. Where's my sleeping bag? Call my parents.
I gotta go. Sorry.
I didn't realize you were that kind of people.
I'm a Cool Ranch house, yeah.
So I gave you my 5.
Yeah. You got them all?
Yeah, we did ice cream, cursing, TV, meat, and my phone.
TV was 1 for me, so I missed out on I don't tell my 1. TV is just, I think a lot of kids would put that at number 1. That's hard.
Yeah.
Good times. A little insight into what makes us tick as humans, and now a little bit of
everybody
insight onto what makes Mr. Smarty Pants tick. As we reported earlier on Soup and Meatballs, LeBron James scores his 50,000th career point. Did you happen to notice the scuffle online between LeBron James and ESPN personality Stephen A. Smith?
I did.
So, I mean,
I've never. I don't know if I've ever seen a fight where I want both people to lose.
It was a confrontation, you say, and I didn't know what it was about. I guess Smith said something about Bronny. I don't know what he said though. If he called him out as a basketball player, I mean, what do you want? But you tell me the last 55th round or last 55th pick in the draft that got that kind of publicity. It is what it is. So this is. Excuse me 1 second. As I have some kind of phlegminess in my throat, got to get rid of. This is a Stephen A. Smith level question. He just signed a new contract, $20 million a year, making him the highest paid ESPNer. Tim, do you know which personality was previously the highest paid ESPNer?
Berman?
That would have been my guess, and Berman's not even in the top 5, I don't think.
Boy, I don't even know who's still there.
He's recent, he's new, he's hip, and the kids dig him.
Shannon Sharp?
I don't know what Shannon's getting paid, but he wasn't on the tweet that I saw when I looked it up.
Nick Wright?
No, not Nick Wright. I don't know who Nick Wright is.
He's the guy who looks like he looks like the guy who gets drunk with Buddy and Elf when he works down in the mailroom.
Okay.
Is it Mad Dog?
No, I don't know what they're paying. He does just spot stuff.
I don't know who
So
did Stephen A. pass.
The highest paid, they called it Troy Aikman at $18 million. I'm not going to count him because he's like a play-by-play guy. But Pat McAfee.
Oh, that makes sense.
Is hitting $15 million for doing his silliness. But Stephen A. Smith pulling in $20 million a year, 5-year contract. I'll tell you what Stephen A. Smith does. He gets people talking, whether you like him or not. He'll do that. So list-wise, I'm not going to talk about him any more than we have to. List-wise, I saw this video on a TikTok. I'm like, wow, it surprised me. So I want to know if you can come up with a top 10 list of NBA, the all-time leaders in recording double-doubles.
Double-doubles.
Okay. Double-doubles.
Wilt?
Wilt did not make the list.
Wow.
And I don't know if the list I used was like, there is a definite recency flair to this. So I don't know if they tracked double-doubles back in Wilt's time, honestly.
But they could do it retroactively because rebounds were a statistic.
I don't know if they did though. I mean, I didn't cite where I got this list, but it matched up with the TikTok list, so I felt pretty good about it.
What about Jokic?
Jokic is not on the list. It's not that recent.
Oh boy, Magic
not on the list, which
LeBron?
makes me wonder about the list.
Yeah, LeBron
is number 9 on the list.
Giannis
is not on the list.
Shaq
is number 6 on the list.
Timmy Duncan
is number 1. 841 they gave him.
Malone. Carl or Moses?
Karl Malone, yes. There's like 75 Malones out there. Sam, Moses.
What about Hakeem Olajuwon?
So Karl Malone was number 2. Hakeem Olajuwon is number 3.
How about David Robinson?
Robinson not on the list.
Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing was the surprising one for me. That's what made me want to wow, what is it? Patrick Ewing, number 10.
So Ewing's 10, but Chamberlain's not on. I'm questioning this list.
I didn't come up with the list. Wilt, Chamberlain.
Kareem?
No Kareem. Double-doubles. Let's see if they have something.
Kareem played until he was 39.
Oh my gosh. No, okay. We're going to call something on this. In league history, the record for most career double-doubles is 968, held by Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah. So
this whole list is bupkis. I got to find that TikTok.
50 and 25 in a season.
Did I save this? Give me a second. I'm going to log onto my social media right now. Currently, I'm watching the story of Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love. Let me get him. This Mr. Smarty Pants better than. I didn't say. I saved it I saved one of the slides as a picture so I could look it up. Wherever I looked it up, it was just.
I feel like it's more impressive that I broke the list.
You did. Do you want to guess who's on the list?
On their list?
Yeah.
You think Kareem is not.
You're missing 4. They're 4, 5, 7, and 8.
How about John Stockton?
Stockton made their list at 714.
Kidd.
Jason Kidd did not make their BS list.
Yeah. Bird.
No. Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic center.
Oh, Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard made their list. The best player in the
Dwight Howard
AI.
made it, but Kareem didn't.
the best player in the AI Celtics Lakers series.
Oh, Garnett.
Kevin Garnett made their list, and
George Mikan.
nah, George Mikan might have more than
Michael
this guy.
Cooper.
What gave one of my favorite quotes that I just saw on TikTok again. I don't know much about Angola, but they're in trouble.
Oh, Chuck.
Charles Barkley. They gave him credit for 710, which is significantly fewer than 968.
I have a list for you.
Yeah, you said you had something for me, so I don't. Do I need a pen or something, or?
Yeah, a pen might help.
Might help, because I'm apprehensive here at best and scared at worst. The pen is great. You know what I'm missing?
Paper.
The paper. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like peanut butter and no jelly. Okay, so the Yankees lead all Major League Baseball franchises for number of players all time to have hit at least 200 home runs while playing for that franchise. So this only counts the home runs they hit as Yankees. But they have 18 players who have hit 200 or more home runs while wearing pinstripes. More than any other franchise has. Can you name the 18 players who've hit 200 or more home runs as a Yankee?
Probably not, but we'll see if I can get half of them.
Okay.
So Aaron Judge.
That is correct.
Babe Ruth.
That is correct.
Mickey Mantle.
That is correct.
Just go back and I don't think he was a big home run hitter, but is DiMaggio on the list?
Joe D hit like 350 and all with the Yankees.
Okay, so DiMaggio makes the list. Yeah, see, he doesn't seem to me like, I think of Mantle like the 500 home run guy. Okay, 200 home runs. He wasn't there that long, but he had to have averaged at least 40 a year. Reggie?
Reggie is not on the list.
Okay, so no Reggie. Because he was only there for 5 years, which always made me wonder, like, why is he in Monument Park? But, 3 home runs in a game will do that.
And a series.
Tino Martinez?
Tino is not on the list, surprisingly.
That's shocking to me. Another non-home run hitter, but he was there for 75 years. Derek Jeter?
He is on the list.
Bernie Williams?
Bernie is on the list.
Posada?
Posada is on the list.
A-Rod
on the list.
How long he was there? Had to be Jason Giambi.
Giambi is on the list. Not Tino, but Giambi, yes.
I'm going to look Tino up because how does he not have 200 Yankee home runs? So what do I have? I have 5. I have 9. So I'm halfway.
Yep.
I
have 9.
Moose Skowron?
That's a great guess, but no, the Moose didn't do it.
I'm trying to. I don't want to just go with like 90s guys.
You're going to kick yourself that you picked Moose Skowron and not this other guy.
Chris Chambliss?
No. There was another player on those 61 Yanks not named Moose Skowron who was known for hitting home runs.
No, not Maris.
Roger Maris.
Maris? Well, okay. I got up to 10.
And there was another first baseman on the list who's not named Moose, but he's a personal favorite of yours.
Mattingly. Oh gosh, yeah, geez.
4, 5, 6. So of the remaining guys, you have 2 catchers.
Munson? No. Berra. Yogi. That's again. I don't think of him as a home run guy, but he was there for 74
He's another
years.
guy who hit like 3 to 350.
The other catcher,
Bill
Dickey.
Dickey did it.
Okay. I mean, you gave me catcher. That's the only reason I got.
We have 2 first basemen.
Oh, Gehrig.
493.
Come on. Oh yeah, I just totally biffed the first base, Mattingly and Gehrig, but I got Jorge Posada.
There's another first baseman besides Gehrig, though.
Oh, okay. Not Teixeira.
Teixeira.
Really texted it. Again, I didn't think he would have been there long enough, but.
And then we have a second baseman, a third baseman, and an outfielder.
Second baseman's got to be.
Yeah, Robbie did it.
Yeah, I mean, I love me some Willie Randolph, but he's not putting the ball over the yard.
It was not Tony Lazzari.
At third base.
This will surprise you, I think.
Mike Pagliarulo.
It's not Pags.
I mean,
it's not too long before Pags, though.
Yeah, pulling out third base is going to be hard for me. Who was? I can't. It's there. Hold on, because I'm thinking. I know he's a really, really good defensive third baseman, but I keep thinking of Brooks Robinson, but he was an Oriole. Who the heck was the Yankees sweeping third baseman?
He was around Reggie's time.
Oh, I feel. Yeah, I know who it is. It's like you trying to figure out,
Boy, as you're trying to
Marcus
think of it, I'm on pins and Greg Nettles. I'm on pins and Nettles.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
And then the outfielder was one of the largest human beings I ever saw in my life when I was 8 years old and I went to Old Yankee Stadium for my first game ever.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so it wasn't. I for some reason I thought it might have been Sheffield, so it's not Sheffield.
No. Multi-sport star. If he hadn't played baseball, he probably would have played football, but he was also a great basketball player in college.
I'm blanking.
Dave Winfield.
Winfield. Okay, yeah.
Winfield's a guy you wouldn't think of because he started in San Diego. He had his time in New York, and then he went, Toronto, Minnesota.
No. All right, so now I have to do this because I need to know. He wasn't a big home run hitter.
Winfield?
Tino Martinez hit 192 home runs for the Yankees. He only hit 339 for his career. So I said he wasn't a big home run hitter. But he had that one stretch, especially he had 44 for the Yankees. He had 28, 34.
Seattle, he was a big power guy for his time in Seattle.
Seattle, he hit 88, but he was there only one fewer year.
But did he have a 40 home run season in Seattle? No.
No, he went 0 in the 24 games, but 4, 16, 17, 20, and then 31 was 31. His big year there. Okay. That surprises me. I don't know where I picked him. And a lot of these I just figured, because they've been there so long.
I would not. You could have given me 100 guesses and I wouldn't have gotten Greg Nettles without some clues at least.
Along the way. No. I have an interesting bracket for you now. Ooh. This kind of goes to, well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give you the matchups, and you just tell for however you want to pick them. Okay. So whatever. I'll tell you what they mean at the end because you're never going to get it.
Okay.
Although I'd like to hear what you think.
Okay.
Okay, so you're ready.
I am always
These are all names.
Ready for some trivia and brackets.
Okay. Bracket number 1, Solomon Grundy versus Nipsey Dwyer.
I'll take Solomon Grundy.
You like Grundy. Okay. Now we got Truck Benedict against Vaughn Turner.
I'll take Vaughn Turner.
Okay. Now we have Bert Hildebrand versus Lorna Doom.
I'll go with Lorna Doom.
We have Ollie Wicker versus Mo Henry.
Obviously, I'm going with Ollie Wicker.
And then we have Smokey Roberts and Cookie Mazzotti.
Give me Smokey.
That's the play-in. So now we have the bracket. Solomon Grundy against Vaughn Turner.
Solomon Grundy.
We have Lorna Doom against Shay Collins.
Lorna Doom.
Ollie Wickers versus Leon Carter.
Ollie Wickers.
We have Smokey Roberts and Anchor Jorgensen.
Oh, Anchor Jorgensen.
All right, we have our final four. Solomon Grundy versus Lorna Doom.
Solomon Grundy.
That's controversial. Ollie Wickers against Anchor Jorgensen. Jorgensen, that's controversial too. And our final, Solomon Grundy against Anchor Jorgensen. Who do you got? Who's your winner?
Anchor Jorgensen.
Oh, I'm surprised. Wow, you went against Grundy.
I almost said Grundy, but I'm going with Anchor Jorgensen.
What made you pull out? What made you pull Jorgensen out?
I liked that his first name was a noun, and then I liked that he had a nice like Nordic last name.
It's actually spelled Anker.
I wondered if it was like, because I know that like there is an Indian name like Ankur, like Ankur. So I wondered if it was something like that.
So here's the thing. What do you think all of these names have in common?
Does it have something to do with pro wrestling? Then
No.
I have no idea. I thought it might be like pro wrestlers' real names or something.
Oh my goodness, Anchor Jorgensen is really tugboat.
I can't believe someone born with the name Anchor Jorgensen is like, no, we're going to name you Special Delivery Jones. Anchor Jorgensen's not exotic enough.
Not goofy enough. No. So a couple weeks ago or a couple shows ago, I mean, we're on show 26, so we were like show 10 or something. We did the wrestlers' real names. No, what these characters have in common, I told you earlier today, I play in a dice baseball league with a group of guys from all over the place, really, but mostly up in the New England area. Here in Pennsylvania, I'm actually in one of the further west teams, although we do have some Central Standard Time teams now, I think. But anyway, we play in a dynasty type league where they have players that have no real discernible names to them, like Solomon Grundy and Nipsey Dwyer. So what I did was I took one player from every team in the league and I put them in the bracket and had you pick. And I didn't tell you which player was my player, did I?
You did not.
My player was Ollie Wickers, and he made it to the Final Four and he lost to Anchor Jorgensen. Anchor Jorgensen is a player on the Anchorage team, and I only know that because I played Anchorage today. And there's a stats page on Google Sheets that you track all of their things. And Anchor Jorgensen came into the series with my team as the number one batting average. And he did not do so well in my series. I rolled good dice, I guess. But he is still he's still the number one. He's in line for the batting title, but he went from like 550 to 440 in our 3-game series.
So to tie everything together in this episode, it sounds like if there are 2 outs and who do you want at the plate? You want Anchor Jorgensen.
Anchor Jorgensen actually came to the plate with 2. I forget who got the last out today, but yeah, I mean, any one of these guys. Lorna Doom is a big power hitter. Solomon Grundy he's a really good card. He's a really good player. So those are the other guys in the Final Four. Some of the other guys, like the names, are just so. Whenever I play, and I don't know who these teams are. I'm a terrible person. Shay Collins always makes me think of Michigan football because of Todd Collins and Shay, the the quarterback we had from Mississippi.
Oh,
Patterson.
Yeah.
Shea Patterson. Like they're two quarterback names blended together. I always think of Michigan when I see that name. Bert Hildebrand. My parents knew people named Hildebrand, like in the acting world, like they're theater people. And I think of Burt Reynolds then, like Burt Reynolds Hildebrand.
For some reason, it made me.
But the commissioner of the league.
It made me think of Burt Macklin from Parks and Recreation.
The commissioner of the league has, we have, was it 13 teams, whatever it is, and every team has 24 players on it, 14 hitters and 10 pitchers, and there's, let me do the math here. 4, 9, 30. We have 13 teams with 24 players, and they're all just random names. And then I have a minor league. I gotta tell you my minor league team names. I got a guy named Lou Dangerfield.
I like that.
Drew Slickmeyer.
Okay.
But then sometimes the names are normal. Like I got a Pedro Alvarez, or I got a Dan Givens, But I have other guys. So a Bo Funkhauser. That's a pretty good name.
Funkhauser makes me think of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I haven't.
It's one of Larry's friends, Marty Funkhauser.
I think our commissioner draws a little bit of inspiration from, the world. Lorna Doom. Somebody said it sounds like Lorna Doom.
That's
the
what
cookie.
I'm thinking.
And there it is. So the best player I ever had on one of my teams was named Jolly Olive, and Jolly Olive became one of the best power hitters.
I think it would be fun to just have a hat with like potential first names and a hat with potential last names, and then just randomly that's how you generate them.
I don't know how he does it, but he does it. So next week, if I haven't figured out a better list or a better bracket for you, we'll do pitcher names for you. And you'll know where they're coming from, but we'll be able to pick out the guy on my team.
What was the last name? Ollie Wickett?
Ollie Wickers is my designated hitter. He's a middle infielder. Ollie Wickers just had a 2-home run game.
He's
today.
no Anchor Jorgensen.
Ollie Wickers for the season is hitting .351, 6 home runs and 16 RBIs, and that's 18 games. We play a 30-game schedule, so we're past the halfway point. And I am statistically by percentage points in second place in my division. I'm 11-7. The guy in front of me is 9-5.
Solid power numbers.
Not as good as years past. So I'll share some of the numbers with you off air, because this is absolutely now we're into this isn't even fantasy sports. These are board game sports. What's really cool about what we've done, I'll tell you the history of it. Back in 2020, a buddy of mine, who again we're going to get on the show eventually, Chris Palermo, he posted something online in response to somebody, and I saw it. So I emailed to somebody who was asking for people who wanted to play a dice baseball game. So I contacted the guy, and we played with real teams, like the 98 Yankees, the 1980 Phillies, the 83 Orioles, things like that. And he had actual players that have numbers on them, and you rolled dice and stuff happened, and you kept the box score, and okay, I won and you won, and whatever. And that kind of evolved into now we're in a league, I said, with 13 teams. That's a dynasty. We have players that have 4-year contracts, and at the end of the 4th year, they retire, and you have to replace them. So you have a minor league that you're operating, and it's been fun for me primarily because I like the guys involved. I've played, I think, it feels like I've played the game 400 times, which is a lot. But it's like the experience of, I'm running the show here. And the games, they take about an hour to play. Back in 2020, I had nothing else to do. So we got together on Discord, and there's a website called Roll20 that has the dice. And there's different strategy cards you play, which changes things. And I forget the year the commissioner was like, do you want to do this again, but as a dynasty? And we won't use real players. So I had the 98 Yankees, which were one of the best hitting teams but their bullpen was weak and their pitching was weak, so it kind of balanced out. So now if you can pick a super team, but that just depends on other people drafting. And I had 4 good years, and this year I thought
surprising the bullpen was.
I thought this year was going to be
for the
bad.
'98 Yankees.
What's that? Oh no, I mean like my team now. I'm the Hazelton Mountaineers. We have let's see here. I'll give you the rundown. The Springfield Isotopes, the Harrisville Ham and Eggers, the Seattle Super Saiyans, the New Orleans Blues, the Fayetteville Phantoms, the Delco Cheesesteaks. You can imagine where that guy's from. The Lincoln Tornadoes, the River Heights Sleuths, the Anchorage Kodiaks, the Brooklyn Nocturnes, and the New York Titans. And then we all have we built in some more fantasy stats where I'm the general manager. I have a bench coach. Floyd Weist is my pitching coach because I said I want him as my pitching coach. Gary Martasio, my little league coach, is my hitting coach. But I have a field. There's ticket prices, and it's pretty
Sounds like
deep.
a pretty cool game.
For considering just a bunch of guys playing a dice game.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so like I said, next week if I haven't thought of something trickier, we'll do pitchers in dice baseball.
And we'll have because we'll be doing this the day before Selection Sunday.
Ooh, yeah, there you go. So, I got some news too. It's 12:23 local time. I have to run Derek into the school to see if he left his music somewhere. So I got to go pick that up. But had a good week, good show.
I think our best one yet.
Definitely the best one this week. So until next week.